And our fourth and final main topic today gets submitted to us by Geeky Gator as well, who writes in, Shazam 2 was recently announced to re-release April 1st, 2022. And I just realized that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2 comes out only a week later on April 8th, 2022. They're both family-friendly comic book movies and probably have a very similar audience. So do you think one will move? If not, which movie will succeed more? All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And listen, I've been saying for a while, some people get worried, this big movie and this big movie are opening the same month. Listen, I've always said, I believe as long as you open two big movies and two similar movies 2 weeks apart from each other, I think you're okay. Because by the time you're getting to a movie, if you separate it by 2 weeks, that means the first movie is entering its third weekend in the box office. By that point, it's going to be about a 75% drop from its original opening weekend. So there's still money to be had there. All that kind of stuff. I believe as long as you just give 2 weeks buffer, you're fine. You're not wrong, man. Shazam and Spiderverse are two movies that are definitely going after the exact same audience. They're both comic book properties. Yes, one is going to be in the animated medium and one is going to be in the live action medium, but therein the differences end. They are both, their originals are fantastic. I love the Shazam movie and I love Spider-Man. I thought Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was the not third best comic book movie, not third best animated movie. I thought Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was the third best movie, period, of that year. I thought Quiet Place was the best one I saw. I thought BlacKkKlansman was the second best one I saw. And I thought Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was the third best one that I saw. I just thought it was that damn good. And I love Shazam as well. They're opening just 7 days apart, 1 week apart. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know what Warner Brothers and I don't know what Sony is thinking by having these two movies that are so similar, appealing to such similar demographics, opening 1 week apart. These two films are going, look, I'm not saying, that these films can't both still do well, Aaron. I'm not saying they can't both still do well. What I am saying, though, is neither will do as well as they potentially can opening 7 days apart from each other. And even if one wins out over the other, I still think the winner would have done better if it doesn't open within 7 days of the other. And I'll tell you what, from a movie fan's perspective, this makes April 1st to April 8th a really exciting week for me because I love both of these movies. I can't wait to see sequels to both of them. I'm very pumped. Now, I'm going to say this. I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was the better film than Shazam, although I do love them both, right? Mm-hmm. The advantage that Shazam has, though, is that Shazam 2 is coming just 4 months after Black Adam, starring The Rock, which is, of course, going to lead directly into Shazam 2. Don't take that for granted, guys, because I think a lot of us are looking at it and obviously on the surface go, well, I think Spider-Man was the better film. I think Spider-Verse will be the winner out of the two. But that ace up its sleeve that Shazam has is that it's going to be kind of part 2 of this 2-part series of Black Adam that's probably going to lead right into Shazam 2. That could actually give it some momentum. So that works in that film's favor at the same time. So I gotta believe, because Geeky Gator was asking, do I think one of them's going to move? I gotta believe one of them's going to move. Mm-hmm. It's just wise. I think one of the two, and it doesn't matter which one moves. It's not about, this isn't a game of chicken. This isn't a dick swinging contest. I think probably the two studios, because believe it or not, studios do communicate with each other.
Sure.
I believe the two studios are going to probably talk and say, yeah, let's work this out. Let's figure this out. Like, hey, I'll tell you what, if you move Spider-Man, then we've got a couple of other movies that are close to each other. 6 months later, we'll nudge our movie 1 or 2 weeks in some direction or something like that. I gotta believe they both know it would be best for both of them. Mm-hmm. If they don't move, I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse makes more money at the box office than Shazam does, even though Shazam's got that Black Adam ace up its sleeve.
Wow.
But I think cooler heads will prevail. I think they'll both realize the right thing to do is for one of them to move, and that'll benefit both of them. So, but I'm excited for both. Anyway, Aaron, let me ask you this. 2 questions here. Do you think they're going to keep their dates, or do you think they're going to move? And secondly, let's say they don't move. Which one ends up being the bigger box office hit, Shazam 2 or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2?
Well, my initial thought on why they would be released so close together is because that time of the year is around spring break for a lot of schools.
Yeah.
So it was like I thought maybe they were banking on the idea that, parents are going to want to have activities to do with their kids for those parents who are not going out of town. And the more kid-friendly movies, comic book style movies that are in theaters that can go ahead and take up 6 hours of their day being, watching 2 films, then great, all the better. But I agree with you. I do think that having that buffer zone of a week in between and releasing one of the films later on, say, April 15th would be the better move. I like to think that Shazam would actually do better because, as you mentioned before, having the momentum and having the previous films being able to push the enthusiasm and the excitement and the marketing, you already have a built-in marketing budget for, that's already kind of laying the groundwork there. So I'm going to go with Shazam, even though I loved Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That was my preferred.
So the question here then, guys, becomes for you. What do you think the studios are going to do? Do you think they're going to keep the same release dates? Do you think one of them's going to move? If they stay, which one do you think turns out to be the bigger hit? Which one do you think is going to be the better movie too? I don't know. For me, that's a coin toss because I loved both of these films deeply and passionately. So for that part, for me, is a coin toss. But what do you guys think? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts.